9:15, welcome back. The nation is coming together all month long to be a voice for domestic violence victims and survivors. Since so many victims suffer in silence, it is so important to know the signs of abuse to help put an end to the vicious cycle. And joining me right now is former Fairfield Police Chief Gary McNamara, who is here now on behalf of the Center for Family Justice. We're talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's so important to know the warning signs. It doesn't always happen behind closed doors, right?
You know, it doesn't, and that's something that we want to really get out there. Is people think it's a behind closed door thing when it's really not. There's been studies that have shown a lot of interpersonal violence. 1/3 of those cases are with someone else around. So we want to make sure that people begin to think of themselves in a bystander role and what that means. So you don't stand by, and there are actions that you can take in order to ensure that you report that behavior to someone who may be able to help someone who's suffering, because it's hard to come forward with that.
Right, right. And when you think about being a witness, you might think that it's only in a physical altercation, but it's not always just physical.
That's right. Domestic violence comes in a lot of forms. Verbal, financial, emotional.
Yeah.
You know, there's always sometimes kids involved. You know, people have a hard time reporting it because they're fearful of what happens next. If you're in it and you report it, how am I going to get by? How am I going to be helped? So that's kind of what we're trying to get the message across. All month long, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we're trying to get that message across.
I know it's hard sometimes to know exactly how many people are dealing with this type of situation because that's all about reporting. But what do we know about how many people are in the state?
Well, we've kind of seen a 40% increase in the needs, at least for the Center for Family Justice. They've seen a 40% increase in their calls for service.
And that's the numbers that are being reported. We know that so much goes unreported.
It does. Of all the crimes, I think domestic violence, interpersonal violence is one of those that it's difficult for people to come forward. Number one, they don't want to admit it. They're ashamed. They're fearful, again, about where their kids will be. How am I going to get by financially? So it's a very hard thing to report. So we're trying to get that message across during this month and frankly, every month that you can have an impact in people suffering from domestic violence.
I know you have been a friend of the show for many, many years. We've had you in for years talking about how you were walking a mile in her shoes in the heels, and now you're working with the Center for Family Justice. What do people need to know about the resources that are available there?
Well, the Center for Family Justice, like all throughout the state, every law enforcement agency has a center that they can work with. And the Center for Family Justice really is that second layer. So the tier, when someone comes in suffering from domestic violence, they kind of wrap them up in a blanket and they help them through court situations, emotional guidance, financial, attorney, legal opportunities. That's kind of the message we want to get across. And this month we're also holding a candlelight vigil next week in recognition for those who have died as a result of family violence.
And the big message to get out there is that no matter your situation, because a lot of people think, I don't have the means to leave that abusive situation. How will I pay for an apartment? How will I be able to take care of my children? There are so many resources available.
There really are. And keep in mind, last year in the state of Connecticut, 21 people died as a result of interpersonal violence. The youngest, 11 months, the oldest, 77. 5 males and 16 females died as a result of interpersonal violence. So while we talk about getting engaged, don't just be a bystander. If you think something's happening, you have to report it. We want to prevent as many deaths as possible from this type of situation. So it's really important that they know the signs, symptoms, and where to go for help.
Those numbers are just heartbreaking. And it's also important to keep in mind that we need to have conversations with our young people, with our children, to know what is acceptable and what is not.
Exactly. You know, the Center for Family Justice does a lot of work with the high schools, all the schools in the area, the 6 towns that it covers. The universities, they have conversations. It's really important to get about what is appropriate behavior and what are signs that they may be able to come forward. Even young people come forward to say, I think there's something going on. Dating violence, it happens in dating violence. So friends, relatives, people have to be aware that I don't think everything's going on that should be going on, and I better report it to somebody.
And I think an important thing is to not be afraid to speak up and talk and ask somebody who you think might be in a situation, are you okay? Do you need help?
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable thing to say to somebody because you don't want to offend them, but it's really, really important.
Yeah, I don't understand why we don't. You know,
Right.
if you think someone's suffering, if they were the victim of a robbery or a car accident or something, we'd certainly come forward and say, are you okay? Sometimes it's appropriate to say, are you okay? Is there something I can do to help you? You look like there's something bothering you.
Gary McNamara, thanks so much. Great to see you. Happy
You
back
too.
on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.